Ace, get out of the way.
Yeah, they got these nice.
I don't know. That's an awful nice place.
Okay. Good morning, and thank you for all joining us here today. I'm Shirley Ollinger, the manager of the Department of Energy Office of River Protection, and here today with Dave Brockman, who's the manager of the DOE Richland Operations Office. We are honored and excited today to have this group of prestigious federal and state leadership assembled to announce some truly good news for the Hanford cleanup. Secretary Chu, Undersecretary Johnson, Governor Gregoire, Senators Murray and Cantwell, Governor Kulongowski, Assistant Secretary Trier, Acting Assistant Attorney General Cruden, Attorney General McKenna, and Acting EPA Regional Administrator Opolsky. Thank you for joining us and for your continued leadership and support of the important environmental cleanup mission at Hanford. And thank you to Congressman Doc Hastings, who passes along his regret and apologies for not being able to join us here today. Doc is also a champion of the Hanford cleanup, creating the Cleanup Caucus, as many of us know, as a forum to build confidence in the EM program. Only one thing could keep Doc away, and that's his family. Following today's prepared remarks, there will be a few minutes available for questions from the press. With that, I would like to introduce our first speaker, Washington State Governor Chris Gregoire.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you all, and thank you for joining, and for all these very distinguished guests, and most importantly, our Secretary of Energy. Because of the leadership of President Obama and Secretary Chu and Attorney General Holder, we all stand here today united in making sure that we move forward in a timely way to clean up the Hanford Reservation. 20 years ago, I stood on the reservation and we signed the tri-party agreement. It was at that time that we thought we had the answer to every conceivable question about when and how to clean up the Hanford Reservation. Since that time, we've come to understand it's a whole lot more complex. It's a whole lot more difficult. And there have been some ups and downs along the way. And because of that, we discovered that, in fact, we had some challenges that really had to be stepped up to. It was on November 25th, Attorney General McKenna and I came to the Tri-Cities to announce that reluctantly we were suing the U.S. Department of Energy because we were facing a cleanup schedule based on the financing that the administration at that time was awarding of cleaning up one tank per year. At 140 tanks, 140 years, that is not right. That is not what Columbia River needs or deserves, or this community, or this state, or the Pacific Northwest, or the nation. We had been in negotiations for approximately 2 years, but the terms of those negotiations basically would have been putting us in a worse position than federal law allows us in terms of enforceability. So less than 6 months ago, I went to meet Secretary Chu. And separately, I met with Attorney General Holder. I asked each of them if they would be willing to sit down at the table and negotiate. That is less than 6 months ago. And with their tremendous leadership, along with others that are present here today, we announced the settlement of that lawsuit and the entering of a consent decree. We are happy about this settlement because it will not only end the lawsuit, but it will allow us to put into action the cleanup that this area deserves. I want to give a big thanks to the leadership of Secretary Chu and his negotiating team, who stepped up in the last 6 months to say we can get the job done. To Attorney General Holder and to Assistant Attorney General Cruden, who also came forward and said, yes, let's see if we can put lawsuits behind us and work together as a team. Attorney General Rob McKenna. Rob, you and your team have done a wonderful job. Thank you and congratulations. To the Department of Ecology Director and to his staff, Jay Manning, thank you for continued great work that you do out here. Thank you to our friends in Oregon and represented here by Governor Kulongoski. The Columbia River is the lifeblood of the Pacific Northwest. Thanks also to EPA, who's always been a good partner in the cleanup. And thanks to our delegation, here represented today by Senators Murray and Cantwell, and to the rest of them who have made this cleanup a priority for them. Briefly, the consent decree will be entered into court. It will be an enforceable document in a courtroom. It is aggressive, it is achievable, and it is enforceable. Those were our objectives. We made sure that the completion and the retrieval of the tank waste from the single-shell tanks will be completed by 2040. Completion of the treatment of the waste will be completed by 2047. Granted, that is longer than what we had hoped, but that is reasonable, that is achievable, and that's what we should enter into now with the knowledge that we have gained. Very importantly, we will review the completion dates every 6 years, and every 3 years we will look into a detailed plan to evaluate whether we can accelerate the cleanup. There will be a public comment period on the consent decree. It will be a 45-day period. It will commence on September 24th, and it will end on November 9th. Additionally, today we announced that the tri-party agreement will be modified as well. It will be changed to help make sure that overall that we can move forward and stay on track with the cleanup. We're going to be doing a life scope effort that will finally, particularly for our delegation and the rest of Congress, and for the administration, as well as all of us, be able to tell us exactly what we need to do, by when we can expect it to be cleaned up, and how much it will cost. That has yet to have been done. Secondly, the Department of Energy will soon publish a draft EIS, which will make clear that as a result of these negotiations, certain waste from out of state will not be brought into Washington State until we get the job of cleanup done in our own backyard. As well, today, Ecology, EPA, and Energy have announced that they are finalizing milestones to accelerate the cleanup of the groundwater along the Columbia River. As I mentioned, this is the lifeblood of the Pacific Northwest. This accelerated cleanup would not be possible without the administration, and most particularly Senators Murray and Cantwell, who went to bat to say we need to get additional funding at Hanford to accelerate the cleanup of the groundwater and not pollute the Columbia River. That was $2 billion in federal stimulus dollars. Thanks to you and the rest of the delegation for making that happen. It is a great day for the Columbia River. It's a great day for the Hanford community, for our state, the Pacific Northwest, and the country as a whole. We have stood up here and we have helped our country through some difficult times. Now the country is going to help us get through this cleanup. It is a new partnership with the President and Secretary Chu that has made this day possible. They are together allowing us to invest in the future of the Hanford Reservation. And I want to thank them and congratulate them on a most historic day. And with that, my friends, I'd like to introduce to you a man who's a scientist who understands far more about what we're doing here than I ever thought. But today, as he takes his tour, he becomes our friend. Our friend 3,000 miles away, our friend to make sure we get the job done, a gentleman who in less than 6 months has stood up as a leader in this country to say we will get Hanford cleaned up. Ladies and gentlemen, Secretary Chu.